Hi there, Smart Drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you tonight about frequently asked questions. The questions I get asked on a regular basis and giving you those questions so that you don't fail your driver's test and you pass first time. Stick around. We'll be right back with that information. So frequently asked questions, these are the questions I get asked all the time. You know, there's lots of stuff that's in the driver's handbook and it doesn't translate into what happens in terms of what happens in the real world. So your turns are too wide. One of the things you need to do if your turns are too wide or you're having difficulty navigating roads, mountain passes where you're curvy roads and you're hanging over the side of the mountain and those types of things, slow speed maneuvers. Go back to the slow speed maneuvers, and the slow speed maneuvers will help you out in terms of being able to have better control of the vehicle on the roadway at higher speeds and those types of things. The thing with slow speed maneuvers, as it says here on the slide, is that it will allow you to focus on one thing without all of the other traffic around you. So you can focus on getting better control of the steering wheel in combination with the throttle and in combination with the brake. Steering wheel control. Do you have to do hand over hand or do you have to do hand to hand? Most places in North America, it's hand over hand. There are some places in Europe and some driving instructors that will insist that you have to do hand to hand, and I've heard all kinds of reasons for this. One of them for not doing hand over hand is because the airbag deploying in the event of a crash and that you're going to have forearm damage. The other reason some driving examiners and driving instructors believe that you should never have your hands away from the wheel, and even with hand over hand, you always have one hand in contact with the wheel. So know that. Freeway merging. How do I merge onto a freeway in bumper-to-bumper traffic in terms of frequently asked questions? You simply get out on the ramp, you match the speed of the traffic on the highway or freeway or interstate, and you signal, you get out there and you put your signal on and you move to the left of your lane without going out of your lane. The other piece with this is pick your gap before you get out on the freeway or interstate. That's going to make it a lot easier for you. So pick your spot, signal. When you get out on the acceleration lane, hug that left side of the lane and keep your signal on. As long as you have your signal on, eventually somebody is going to let you in on the freeway. What is the speed tolerance limit? If you are that much away from the speed limit, either over or under, unfortunately, you're not going to be successful on your driver's test. You have to be within 2 or 3 miles an hour, or you have to be within 3 to 5 kilometers an hour of the posted speed limit. Unless traffic is backed up or there's congestion or the traffic flow is a lot lower than the posted speed limit. Because if you're just too much, probably 5 kilometers an hour, 5 miles an hour, once you get that far under the speed limit, you're not going to be successful on your driver's test. The new video this week was how to research a car. And as I said in the video, yes, money is going to be your first hurdle, right? How much money do you have? Can you buy a vehicle? First thing you need to consider when you're buying a vehicle, know that if you finance the vehicle, your insurance is going to be more. Because when you have financing on a vehicle, you have to put collision insurance on your vehicle, which means that if you crack the vehicle up, you smash it up, that your insurance is going to pay to have it repaired. That's just a requirement that you have to have in terms of the financing. So say, for example, without collision, your insurance is going to be $1,500 a year. As soon as you put collision insurance on a vehicle, your insurance is now $3,000 a year, because collision is twice as much money as what your public liability and property damage is going to be for buying a vehicle. Live stream every Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We answer all of your questions about driving, passing a driver's license test, becoming a safer, smarter driver, or starting a career as a truck or bus driver. Click up in the corner here, set a reminder for Sunday's live stream, and we'll see you then. Shoulder checking. You have to shoulder check both left and both right every time you're turning the vehicle, every time you're moving the vehicle sideways, every time that you're changing lanes. And the reason that you're shoulder checking left is that you're looking for other road users, people on scooters, on motorcycles. So you must shoulder check left, and as well, after you get your license, keep this habit. Left turn position. Where do I stop at an intersection to make a left-hand turn? We teach, put your front steer tires in the front crosswalk line. That way you're committed to the intersection, but you're not in the intersection in case something goes wrong. So I advocate this all the time. And as well, it gives you more speed to reduce the amount of time that you are in the crosshairs of the oncoming traffic. So this is where you stay for the position for your left-hand turns. After turning left, you have to move back to the right lane. Every state, every province has the regulatory sign that says, unless passing, stay right. And this is what this means. After you make a left-hand turn on a multi-lane road, you have to move back to the right immediately without the driving examiner telling you that. And if you're coming from one lane into two lanes, you got to put your signal on, mirror signal, shoulder check, and move into the right-hand lane. You cannot drive in that left-hand lane, because if you drive in that left-hand lane for too long, driving examiners are going to assign you 10 or 15 demerits. Backing. Can you use a backup camera? Corey will put the video up for you on backup cameras. You can use a backup camera, but you cannot use it as your primary line of sight. You can glance at it as you would your mirrors, but when you're backing up, you must look out through the back window for the purposes of reversing, and then pause, check your mirrors again, check your backup camera, do a 360-degree scan around your vehicle, and then proceed. Signal, three-point turn. Yes, you must signal on three-point turns. You must signal every time you reverse the vehicle, every time you change directions. And where most students get into trouble with signaling is when they leave the parking lot at the DMV. They don't signal left or right when they drive out of the parking lot. The other counsel that I give to drivers who are showing up for a driver's test, make sure that you back into the parking space. That way it's going to be a lot easier for you to get started. Remember, you want to start strong, you want to finish strong. That's how you do that for the purposes of your driver's test. So make sure that you're signaling. Parallel parking. If you hit the curb, yes, you will fail. If you knock the examiner out of his or her seat, you will not pass your driver's test. But if you touch the curb and readjust and have a pull-up, you will only be assigned demerits. You won't fail your driver's test. But yes, if you do strike the curb, it's an automatic fail on a driver's test. Goose, perhaps you've got some insights into that about how Ontario is going to catch up with the backlog that they're dealing with in terms of driver's tests there in that province. And as well, many of the states are now opening up as well. Many of the states are moving away from the closed circuit testing that they were doing at the height of COVID. And I'm going to do a couple of videos for you on what that driver's test will look like post-COVID days. And I'm telling you, for most of you, this isn't just for those of you in the United States, that isn't just for those of you in Canada, that you need to be even more prepared for your test now, because you are not going to be having the luxury of the amount of time. You're not going to have 15 to 20 minutes for your driver's test. You are going to have 8 to 10 minutes, and you're going to have to hit the ground running. You're going to have to be good off the top. So let's clarify something about the parking brake and the emergency brake. Most drivers call the parking brake the emergency brake. The parking brake and the emergency brake are one and the same thing. The reason they're called two different things is that when you park the vehicle, it's a parking brake. In the event of an emergency, in the very unlikely event that the brakes on your vehicle fail, then you're going to use as an emergency brake, as your backup. So it's probably never in your lifetime will you ever use the emergency brake to bring the vehicle to a stop. However, when you park the vehicle, it's now a parking brake, and you're going to use it every time you park the vehicle. Even after you get your license, I do strongly advocate for all of you who have newer vehicles that the parking brake applies automatically. Do it anyway, because you're going to get in an older vehicle that it doesn't apply, so you just get in the habit of applying the parking brake. That way your vehicle is going to be there when you come back to get it after a period of time, okay? Dave, taking my test on Friday, just wondering if you have to shoulder check on every turn, every green light. Dave, yes you do. Every time you turn the vehicle, every time you move the vehicle sideways, every time that you are changing lanes, shoulder check, shoulder check, shoulder check. 2 times every time, okay? Teo, how do traffic circles work? Like, depending on where I turn, which way do I signal? It's very confusing. So whichever way you're going to go, Teo. So if you're going to go straight through, you don't have to signal. If you're going to turn right, then signal right. If you're going to go left, then signal left. Okay, it's that simple. Just think of it like a conventional intersection. Try not to get too crazy about roundabouts, and because I know it's a little bit weird. So if you're going to turn right, you're going to take the first exit, right? If you're going to turn left, you're going to take the third exit. And if you're going to do a U-turn, then you're going to come around and take the 4th exit. Okay, it's that simple. Hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment down in the comment section. We'll do what we can to help you out to get a license and those types of things. So if you passed your license in the last couple of weeks, congratulations on that. All the best. And if you got a test coming up this week, good luck on that. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. Bye now.